First things first.
Before I get going here, every GM in the league and most fans being honest with themselves would take Tom Wilson on their team faster than you can say Cam Neely. Just needed to say that. But, and this is a big but, Tom Wilson is back at it. It was by far our most engaging post of the night. In fact, Wilson losing his ish and smashing the Rangers' most skilled players was among the most commented on stories in this show's history and caused a visceral reaction I haven't seen very often in my 25 or so years in this business. A cheap shot to the head of a defenseless Pavel Buchnevich, who, to be fair, was just digging at the Caps goalie, but then ragdolling the Rangers' leading scorer and $11.5 million man, Artemi Panarin, for having the audacity to try and pull Wilson off of his prone teammate. Add a little taunting in the box, and it ended up with Wilson getting 4 minutes for roughing and a 10-minute misconduct. That's right. All that carnage, and the Caps ended up with an extra 2. In fact, my guy came back and iced it with an empty netter. He had a goal, an assist, a misconduct. Is that the Tom Wilson hat trick? Oh, but those smiles wouldn't last, right? Twitter, IG, Facebook leapt to action. And I'm not sure I've seen such a varied response, most of it screaming bloody murder at Wilson. It's the reason we here on Tim and Friends created Canada's hottest game show, How Many Games?
How many games?
The most liked answers when we offered up how many games said that he should get the rest of the regular season and the playoffs. I asked our team on a conference call earlier today, how is that the most popular answer when you know the chances of that were slim and none, and Slim hopped on a subway outside of MSG? Ryan said, just kick the guy out of the league. How many chances does one guy get? Richie, how many years is more like it? And then, of course, the wannabe tough guys show up. Well, don't dig at the goalie. That's what you get when you don't have a tough guy, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. Trust me, I get it. You never want to govern a league by the comments section. But it wasn't just the fans. The New York Post, Larry Brooks, the NHL must ban Tom Wilson for nearly killing Artemi Panarin. The Rangers themselves, they did not hold back post-game.
I don't honestly know where to start. It's just horrible.
There are lines that can't be crossed in this game, and it's just, to me, it's just there's just zero respect.
I don't know why I'm surprised, but yeah, it's just horrible.
Happens time and time again with them, and it's just it's totally unnecessary.
Then came the news, real quick, from Elliot Friedman. Preliminary word is that New York Rangers, Artemi Panarin, won't play the rest of the season. 3 games left. The kind of news leaked to influence a suspension? Like the folks on Twitter were talking about? So what would the Department of Player Safety say? Got that answer early this morning. Wilson will not miss a game. No suspension, and was fined $5,000 for roughing Pavel Buchnevich. Nothing for the Panarin part. $5,000 fine. $5,000. Let me put that in perspective. That's the same fine the NFL gives out for wearing your socks too low. I'm not kidding. And listen, I read the rule book. I won't bore you. There is nothing in there about roughing being a suspendable offense. The only relatable thing in the rule book is Rule 46.5, continuing or attempting to continue a fight. That can be a misconduct or a game misconduct. Wilson got the first. And there is also deliberately attempting to injure. That can be a match. But how's that for a fine line? Isn't deliberately attempting to injure like every fight ever? So the Department of Player Safety is immediately ratioed on their tweet. Acting the Foolman on Twitter. Great handle. I feel for you, social media person, because you're going to be the only outlet for people to express their frustration with one of the worst and dumbest entities in professional sports. Tyler Searans, or Kyran, I don't know how to say it, I'm sorry. I apologize, Tyler. He screen captured this same fine line. Lundqvist squirting water at Crosby, $5,000. Herein lies the problem for the NHL. Nobody knows what a suspendable offense is anymore. Nobody thinks that punching a prone player who is lying face first on the ice in the back of the head is the same as squirting water at a dude. Certainly not the fans. And listen to as many former players as you want. It's funny. If the NHL was attempting to work with the black and white of the rule book, and the fans, were responding with the same black and white, where is the room for actual nuance that the NHL loves to point out when discussing these kinds of things? Here's the deal. Wilson lost control of his emotions, punched a defenseless player laying prone on the ice in the back of the head. Hey, NHL, where have we seen that before? Never mind, I'll move on quickly. After hitting the defenseless player in the back of the head, Wilson went from a 9 to an 11 on the freakout scale and did it on one of the best players in the league, slamming him down to the ice without his helmet on. Another angle from Panarin. He smashes his head against the ice. I guarantee you Wilson is gone for a very long time. Wilson crossed the line. And it's not the first time. He's been suspended 5 times before, albeit for illegal checks, which ironically fall into the realm of attempting to injure. It's a joke. And if you're one of those fake tough guys acting like this is the way the game is supposed to be played, I like it played that way. But this ain't it, Chief. And if I'm not tough enough for you, is John Scott tough enough for you? Here's what he said.
He gets fined $5,000? Like what on earth is happening with the NHL right now? It was a gutless move on his part, throwing around Panarin and punching Bushnevich in the face when he was on the ground in a prone position. Just gutless, terrible hockey. Listen, I love this type of hockey. I think we all do. But what Tom did was just, there's no excuse for that. It's insane to me that he only got a $5,000 fine.
Listen, this is a physical game that allows its participants to fight and still have the ability to score the game-winning goal. As long as you have contact and physicality, you are going to have bullies. I understand that. I even accept it way more than most as a reality of the game. But in the past, guys like John Scott were able to dole out some measure of accountability. Do the Rangers think the fine was enough? I don't think so.
I think it's a joke, to be honest with you. And everything from his stick on his neck or the head and everything after that. And a defenseless player, and Panarin, in my opinion, with no helmet on, a superstar in our league. I just think it's a joke.
Anybody in hockey, certainly everybody in our organization is very disappointed. Certainly thought it was warranted a suspension. I know how we're going to respond. I'm comfortable with how we're going to respond. And as far as the call-up goes, we've talked about a lot of different scenarios. So
I told you for what? Weeks now that because of all this, we were going to get the enforcers back. We were going to get the face punchers back. So now what? They play again tomorrow, and Wilson will be out again tomorrow night. So what do the Rangers do? What can the Rangers do? Their leader in PIMS is Brendan Smith at best. I'm guessing like a middleweight. Can he do it? Does the NHL want them to dress a face puncher? Do they have a face puncher in the AHL? Does the NHL expect them to accept that their best player was being knocked out for the rest of the season because he tried to pull someone off of his prone teammate? All these things I thought the NHL wanted out of the game. And all these things the NHL wouldn't have to deal with if they just did what almost everyone was telling them to do. Suspend Tom Wilson.
First things first.